Okay, good evening. It's oh no, yes, it's 2 minutes past 10 in the evening. So thank you for those that are joining tonight's live stream. Unfortunately, I just got news that Order can't make it. He woke up feeling very ill. So probably all that cold air around him. So hopefully you're feeling a lot better soon. So ignore that invite that I sent you. Okay, now tonight's topic is going to be based on pareidolia. And one thing that, with pareidolia, it actually means resembling an image. It's an old Greek meaning. And there are so many that, like in this field in particular, in the paranormal field, it is so easy to be bombarded by a lot of misconceptions of audio, video, and photos. And it's by no fault of many of the people out there that they will record something and then they play it back. And I've had those cases myself where it's like, oh, I didn't hear that, and I can hear them. So on that respect, I'm thinking, oh, did I miss something? Or I don't remember someone talking at that point. So then I have to look into it a little deeper, and then I find, okay, well, that sounds probably like my jacket, or that sounds like, walking. And sometimes this is another thing that you've got to understand with pareidolia, is that many times the sounds around us can actually help amplify EVPs. So I've had cases where I don't know whether anyone heard that, we were setting up to do a ASMR audio and just getting prepared, doing a little crinkling. And of course, Chris says, talk to me. And his voice is very, very clear. If those that have heard Chris's voice, you pretty can distinguish his voice. I don't think I sound like a male, at least I don't think so. But this is where, that helps me because of the fact that I don't have a man living here, after my husband, so because of that, there's no male apart from spirit. Now, I'm going to give a few shout outs. Oh, we've got Order in the house. Oh, poor bugger. Yes, I did. I sent you a message. Oh, you're feeling better now. Okay. Would you want me to send you an invite? Okay. God love him. I'll send you an invite. Oh, he's so impatient. All right. So your invite has been sent. Okay. So look for that invite. And the only reason that I'm actually thinking, of using this topic tonight, because, usually I'm trying to sort of discuss different topics every week. And I think it's about time Order made a contribution. And as soon as he talked about pareidolia, I went, aha, that's going to be our subject. So I'm going to give a few shout outs. So hello to Liz Hall. Yes, that's you, all right, your rat bag. Oh, not you, Liz. Order. Lady J, hello. Albert, thank you for joining us. I hope you're well. We missed you. I think it was last week you weren't on. So you can't find it. Oh, my goodness. All right, give me a moment. Oh, goodness me. Hang on. I'll send it. I'll send it into chat. So there you go. So just click on that link and you'll be able to come through. Okay, so yes, finally, I don't know how long it's been. I I won't go into, probably, you know, nearly 2 years, finally Riley, or Phil, I should say, made a contribution to the live stream. He's had a suggestion and he didn't even know it. Poor bugger. But it's good that you're feeling better now. So I'm just going to wait for him to come through. Like, he'll get there. Where are you? So I thought we would discuss pareidolia. Now, let me just, I thought I'd itemize in in the actual description under the video order of discussion. Now, the special announcement that I have is that I don't know whether any of you are familiar with the fact that I actually do self-guided hypnotherapy, but I actually do have audios up for sale on our website. So if you go to the High Priestess Studio and you click on the side link menu, if you're on your browser, on the home page, I think it is, they've got new audio, or was it E.V.P and audio for sale. So the E.V.P isn't for sale, obviously, but the actual self-guided meditation hypnotherapy is. And you can get the one that is also for a psychic protection. You can also get the one that is for astral projection. There is also one for reaching a higher consciousness. And recently I did a different technique using the white noise, and in particular there is it sort of gives you the illusion like you're going like in a bath, and you know when you put your head under the water and your ears fill up with water and everything's sort of like muffled. That part of the actual audio is where I'm, you know, pretty much submerging you, not drowning you, but I'm submerging you on a meditative level. And then I say, okay, I'm going to bring you up now from the water. So then you can actually hear the ears becoming clearer. But you've got to wear headphones when you're playing it. So it's quite exciting. And this also includes the rolling thunder in the background, seagulls, because I even take you to the beach. It's sort of like a, you know, come with me kind of thing. So yeah, it's actually quite fun. It's a new one, the new one that's up. And for the next 24 hours, I've actually extended it. All proceeds for the audio is going to be completely donated to the Humane Society International, because they are doing everything they can to close down dog meat farms over in South Korea and other places like that. Yes, I will. Hang on. I've got to send this link to order. I don't know what's wrong with. I'll just say, you know, he's a male. I sound like one of those, what are they called? The feminists. Okay, so it is there. So have a look in your, hey, there. Hey, finally. Gee, it took your time, didn't you?
Yeah. I want to.
Hello.
Yeah, my page is battery, even with the screen down brightness.
You sound like a robot.
Bit of luck.
Sound like a robot.
Hang on. Yeah, I'm like a
That's better.
robot. Great. Lady, give me a cup of...
Oh, there's a picture. Make a liar out of me. You've got your cup glued to your mouth there. Okay, now it's moved.
Yeah. Car. Don't know if you can hear me. I'm out in the car because our papers, because of the snow, have got cancelled. So I've literally got to wait for Natalie to finish work. So I'm in the car, obviously. So I don't know how good signal will be and all the rest of it. But
Okay.
just see how we go.
All right. Great. Well, thank you for contributing to this week's topic.
That's all right. I just hope the battery holds out.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the cold, you know, you should do whenever you've like not using the phone or whatever, put it in one of those, you know, those like a esky kind of things, you know, like the
yeah.
So when I used to do photography and I would go on location where if it was cold, I'd get the batteries and put them in one of those thermal bags that, you know, retain the temperature. So that way they wouldn't get cold and get drained. So that you could do with your mobile, or put your mobile on battery saver. There's a battery saver option. And
What I've done is I've turned the screen off and I've put it on charge using the car's charger. But it's like a losing battle though. The charger doesn't charge very quickly for some reason. But like I said, I turned off the screen. I don't know if my camera's gone off, but if it has,
yeah, it has.
it'll last. That's all right. It'll last longer this way. So we talk about pareidolia. The controversial subject that everyone has an opinion about, and yeah, I got a lot of thumbs down talking about it. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? The thing is, it is an issue. It is a big issue because one of the things that I thought I would itemize it. I don't know whether you saw, because I try to sort of keep the topics in order. The first thing is, what is pareidolia? And obvious, as I mentioned, pareidolia is resembling an image. This is what the Greeks termed, you know, seeing faces in clouds and making faces out of the shapes of things. I mean, I've got wood throughout my home, the wooden floorboards, and it looks like eyes in certain areas, but it's not eyes. It's just the grain.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is where I feel like there's so many people that get so caught up in it that it's like everything they see, if it doesn't look nice, they think it's a demon instantly. A demonic face. So there's a demon around me. And
this is the thing with the ghost box as well. Everything that comes out of a ghost box is forced into a communication. You know, remember, it is a thing that has, you know, it is a device where it's streaming radio, if you like. Radio is coming through. Not everything out of that ghost box is communication. It might sound a bit gobbledygook. Let's force it into a communication what my mind can make out. And so literally everything, I'm not going to name any channels or anything like that, but just certain channels, everything that comes out of, you know, that app or that ghost box or whatever, literally everything that comes out of it, that's communication. You know, it's saying this, it's saying that. You know, I'm thinking, but you know, as I said earlier, we have a spectrum or a scale with what we would accept as evidence or communication. You know, and obviously everyone is different. And this is why I've got this challenge, or it's not really a competition or challenge, but I've got two people annotating what I consider not to be a very good session. I mean, it's okay, we've got a couple of words in that, but nothing too good. But yeah, they're really drawing on how much can they pull out with the Pareidolian effect. And it'd be interesting to see how many of the words and stuff match up, you know, between these two people, just out of curiosity, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important. I mean, look, there are times where we might hear one thing, and this is a fact with spirit. There are times where spirit will only communicate to the person hearing them. You've seen cases where a person could be standing there filming and another person with a camera not, you know, within a foot away. And on one camera, there will be an E.V.P., and on the other camera, nothing. So sometimes spirit is selective. So it means that that person who is recording may actually hear the spirit, but other people won't. And so, but if you've got something that, you know, I mean, I've had cases where, you know, I can hear the EVPs clearly. There are times I have to sit there and I've got to make a proper judgment on them, because there are times I think, now, was I moving? And I try to remain absolutely
clothes rustling, you mean, like clothes rustle and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. I try to remain absolutely still. I feel that some of the best EVPs actually come through, as I mentioned, there are times where, you know, if I'm doing a reading, like you might have heard that one the other day, I think you did comment. You did, that's silly. And this little girl came through saying, can you stop?
That was insane, that one. Yeah.
Really, really clear.
It was.
Stop reading and talk to me. And I actually had a male who I was reading for, and I was almost finished through the reading anyway, because, you know, I leave all the questions till the end of the reading. So I'm doing the whole reading through the process for nearly an hour, and then at the end I'll say, okay, now do you have any questions? If they try to interject through the reading, I'm like, no, wait till the end, because I don't want you contaminating. But anyway, at this point, I heard this little girl. And I said, oh, I think I've got a visitor or a company or something to that extent. And I said, did you hear that? And first of all, I wasn't sure whether it came from his end, because he was on the phone with me and I had the phone on loudspeaker. And I had to, you know, confirm, you don't have a child there with you, do you? And he said, no, I don't. And I said, I've just heard a young girl. And he said, really? And he got an excited sound in his voice. And this wasn't the kind of person I expected from the reading to be really into the paranormal. Reading, yes, but paranormal, no. And I was mistaken, you know, and I'll admit it. I was mistaken, because he said he was a bit hesitant, because he was a bit afraid of what might come through, because he's heard a lot of stories, he said. But he had hoped that he would hear from his wife, but more so his daughter, because she, you know, she passed away. I won't go into the details anyway, but his wife he lost first, and then his daughter, who was quite young. And he said he felt like there was nothing to live for. And he was even making reference to, you know, like, I just want to know that they're there for me, so that if I do decide to take my life, that I can join them. And I thought, oh, God, you know, and a lot of the time, and I'll just say this, a lot of the time when I'm doing readings, it ends up becoming a counseling session, because there are people out there who do want to have a validation that there is an afterlife, and if they're going to be okay. And I hope I had talked him out of doing something silly, because one thing that I have experienced many, many times with spirits that have taken their own life is they are bitter. They can't find the ones that they took their life for. They seem to be wandering around. So I said to him, look, there's no guarantee that you're going to be connecting with your daughter and your wife when or if you do that. I feel that it has to be a natural thing, so that, you know, your spirit can separate properly without having, you know, the influence type of thing. I said, if you're terminally ill and it comes to that, I do believe in the right, you know, for a person to make a choice. But if there's nothing physically wrong with the person and they just, you know, have a broken heart, to me, that isn't enough. You know what I mean? But anyway, besides that, talking from experience, that was an incredible moment. I played it back to him. The guy was brought to tears, laughing with happy tears saying that is her voice. And the communication, honestly, I asked permission to share just that first bit, but the rest he said, please don't, you know, and I have to honor that. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. She was, you know, she was talking to him. He was hearing everything. It all came through the audio. He's got the copy of the audio, and he said he'll treasure it forever. And I mean, that means a lot, you know, to be able to help someone like that. But it wasn't me. That was spirit. You know, I'm only the opportunity for them to use, you know, the stuff and communicate. So in pareidolia, there are many things that can be pareidolia: voices, images, and also the things that we perceive, such as, you know, we might have this dream that something has happened, wake up feeling angry, that mood that we get, you know, when it's like something has, you know, they're up to something, or, you know, the misconceptions, miscommunications can also be like a part of a pareidolia experience. But the main thing about pareidolia is seeing or hearing something as a result of, you know, from the time we are babies, we are looking and searching for familiar faces, and we identify with faces instantly. So it's very typical for us to see faces in many things. You've seen the image of a toaster with the knobs at the front, and that looks, the, what was it, the fireman's thing, you know, like all these different things. I mean, the front of a car with the headlights can look like a face.
As a kid, I always used to equate cars, the front of cars being their face. You know?
And
you know, always having like I used to love the BMWs. They always look so aggressive and angry. You know, angry looking face, peed off. You know. Whereas this car I have now is very smiley and happy, and you know, it actually reminds me of a teenager having orthodontal work, but you know, but it's a face, you know, it's a pareidolia of a face, you know.
It is, and that's what we seek out. Because I mean, if we had faces where our eyes were at the bottom and our mouth was in the middle of our forehead, we would be looking at pareidolia like that and identifying. And if we saw something that had eyes at the top and the mouth at the bottom, we'd be like, oh, that's a demon. You know, we have, you know, like, how many times...
I posted a thing on Truth-Seekers, didn't I? There's a guy who was saying about demons, these clouds, and he was hearing EVPs, you know, of demons saying to shut up and that. And I posted it, and I was hoping someone like Rob, you know, Austin Paranormal, what his name is, the brave guy who's always going to the lake house, he'd take out because he's quite an expert with these EVPs. And he said what the dude was hearing is tire screeches from the cars. I wasn't the demon screeching at him. You know, it was tire squeals from the tires of the cars. But he was adamant that these clouds were demonic and stuff. Isn't and like, wow, you know.
It's really sad because then you've got other people that support that. You know, other people who turn around and say, "Oh, yes, you know, they're
validate your own madness, so to say."
Exactly. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, well, what were you doing at that time, or where was your location at that time? What was, you know, and this is why a lot of people document their investigations with the weather conditions, the time of day, the type of activity around them. You know, they document all that so nothing can be misconstrued as being pareidolia where it isn't. One thing that in videos where you've got someone being stationary, they're not moving, and then all of a sudden they begin moving, and you hear, and they're putting up titles like, you know, something's being said. Much of that will be the clothes or the footsteps on the floorboards, or, you know, in the location. You've got to understand that when you're doing any type of EVP, especially on location, try to sit down or stay still. Exactly.
Hold your breath.
Yeah, pretty
I'm
much.
a loud breather. my breathing is so freaking loud because I've got a metal plate in my nose, and that's why I'm quite nasally. I've always sound like I got a cold. But,
Well, your nose might help them.
yeah. But when I was with death seekers in Bodmin, as a case of literally like, oh my god, like, no guys, that's me. Oh, what was that? No, that was me again. Sorry. It was really, obviously I had to hold my breath every time I'm doing a bloody E.V.P. Because my nose, it whistles.
At least you said it,
Yeah.
But when you go on location, these people that wear like jackets that, are a thick kind of plasticky or whatever, like not plasticky, what is it? Like a tracksuit type of, material, but the stiff one or parachute material. They are noisy.
Yeah.
You've got to think ahead. If you're going on a location, you're going to have to first, if you do a recording, my suggestion would be record and then sort of move your arms about and see if that picks up any noise before you even leave the house. Just sort of move your arms about, put your hands in your pockets, move your hands, that type of thing. So you can identify with what is, a contaminated sound as opposed to something different. Sure. So this is where it's really important, to decipher what, if you're getting EVPs only when you're walking, then chances are it is not a voice of a spirit. EVP. It is you. And people won't admit that. They won't admit it. So that's why even when I was going to the cemetery. Sorry?
How honest do you want to be with yourself? If you want to say that everything that comes through is communication, that's fine. If that's what works for you, fine. But, I personally would rather have 100 videos of nothing, or I'm pretty sure it's nothing, and one video that's, that is, that is definitely what we've got going on there, as opposed to 99 videos that are, forced, I think is a word. Just
I think what it is, there's many people out there, they feel that they have to put a video up or no one's going to follow them.
Maybe, yeah.
There's, many cases I've seen that.
I have the best evidence, maybe. I have to have all the communication time. Let's say it winds up about half every single video is amazing communication every time.
Real.
Like, we know it's nothing like that, No. I mean, to us ordinary folk, I'm on about, rather than anyone else, but, to be a normal person, even such as myself.
Even in my profession, I am reading daily, and not every single reading has a spirit present. There are times where that person might say, oh, like at the end when I say, do you have any questions? Oh, I really hoped I would hear from my mother or whatever. If they're not there, they're not there. And you can't say they're there. You can't suddenly turn around and say, oh, yes, I hear I wouldn't do that to anybody. I wouldn't want anyone to do it to me. But this is a problem. I mean, if you can be in a location, my also advice here is when filming, sometimes we can see things like dust, and that's a pareidolia because they will say, oh, I was walking and I've taken these photos, and they're using their flash. So of course, what happens when you use flash or infrared? You're bouncing light off dust.
Orbs absolutely everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly. You will see lots of scattered orbs and everything. They're not spirits. These mostly are moisture orbs, because if you're going out late at night, there's probably moisture in the air because of the cold. And when you've got cold and stuff like that, and when you're walking, what's happening? Your feet are moving dust off the grass and everything. And if you look at your shoes when you get into the car or whatever, they're going to have dirt over them, which means that majority of what you captured is going to be part of that dust and dirt. And don't forget, we all have dust, which is human skin and everything. We have that in our hair. We have it on our clothing. And when you're in...
When it comes to orbs, you find if you've got a real orb. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever watched my diss on about the Wonderbox Gold, and a lot of those were genuine orbs there because they're intelligent flight path and stuff. You know, just floating randomly. They were on a mission going somewhere, I think is the best way.
The ones that zigzag,
quite a lot.
The ones that zigzag are not, they're not spirit. And you'll find that with spirit orbs, they're more slow.
Yeah.
You know, they don't sort of like go really fast and spin around type of thing. I mean, that's a bug, you know, that's illuminated from the infrared light. I've captured the light itself without any infrared, without any flash, and I've zoomed in so I could actually see the actual, it looks like a blob, if you want to put it like that. It's got life in it, the way that it moves. It's alive. It's alive. That's all I can describe it as. But it's, when you've got all this type of pareidolia out there, so many get sidetracked. They start thinking, oh, well, if I see that same type of thing, then that's this. What we have to be looking at are, okay, if you're in an environment, you're not moving, and you haven't moved for about an hour, and then all of a sudden, you know, like in a room, for example, you're filming and you go out of that room and then you dismiss everything for the first half hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Dismiss everything, because when you were in that room, if you were talking, the reverberation of your voice bounces dust off the walls and the ceiling. It can also rise dust off the floor when you've walked into that room. So you've got to let all that dust settle before you can identify spirit. I prefer really to be out of a room completely and just have a camera set up. I dismiss everything for the first half hour to 45 minutes.
And ideal.
Exactly. Everything after that, I question. Okay, well, that looks an intelligent light. It hasn't got like a it's blinking, like majority also with spirit orbs, they have the energy. See them
I'll never forget when Liz sent me that webcam, which I still can't seem to get to bloody whip for some weird reason. I followed an orb in our old house, and it literally the way it moved, it went from the living room and it decided to go upstairs, you know, just as if it's on a mission. It was going somewhere, and rather than just randomly floating about, you know. And the thing went towards our bedroom. I thought, that is going to be an amazing capture. Unfortunately, it didn't record to the damn memory card. Which
no.
I know, I'm really gutted, but rare you see that. You know, the dust orbs are quite common; they're everywhere, sort of thing. But those types, as you said, they're blinking. They're different looking, aren't they?
They are.
That demon session that I like to blow my own trumpet about, that's got one on there with one spirit orb, and it just looks so. Well, you've probably watched the video 100 times, you know, but it goes towards the spirit box, and then once and it's weird as well because afterwards the communication starts dying down a bit. Well, you see the thing decide to exit the kitchen, the same orb as near the spirit box comes out.
Look at that one that was in your car. This was that one that I zoned in on for you. That was in your car when you had the spirit box on the dash.
Was the Halloween one? It's not that session, no. But I'm
not too sure about what one it was, but this.
Oh, I know what you're about. We're Hill, yeah. And it's not that one, no. But yes, I know the one you're about. Yeah, that was an interesting.
Yeah, and the way you could tell that was spirit was it manifested. It didn't just like come into the scene.
No,
it manifested before, right next to that. So this is where this can give you more of a idea. Okay, this is what you need to look for. Things that manifest the light, they they, you know, we've all seen like the little sparks out the corner of our eye. We've all seen little, you know, blinking lights, stuff like that. These aren't just, you know, little particles in your eyes moving about, which we do have. We have little floaties in the actual eye itself, which moves in front of the actual visual.
Yes,
I
you
can't
see
think
like
of the
little
name of
worms.
it.
Nobody else has experienced that, but if you look at a clear sky, you see like these little worms traveling in
Yeah,
front of your eyes. See wormy
and
things.
that is what is in the fluid in your eyes. We all have like fluid. So there's all this junk that, you know, it collects and everything like that, and it floats around. And sometimes we'll see like what looks like a dot in our eye. This is where people will say, oh, did you see that? But it's not. It's in their eye.
No, saw that because it's in your eye, literally.
Yeah. So you can be.
Well, if you're unaware of it, you would think, oh, wow, you know, if you don't know about these things. But I mean, I first come across that as a teenager. Thought, what the hell's going on in my eyes? Am I going blind or something? But if anyone else in the chat room has experienced that, you look at a clear sky, a clear blue sky, and you see like these see-through sort of floating in front of you, but it's just the you know the liquid, as Karen just said, in your eyes. Everyone has it. It's just a case of having lighting conditions that allow you to see it.
That's right. And I mean, there could be like a little bit of sleep that gets, you know, in front of your retina and stuff, you know. So little things like that. I mean, let me just say that everyone out there who are wanting to capture an orb, a real spirit orb, try not using any light.
Because
that's
all the ones I captured have been no flash or anything. Every single like ones have been ones, but everyone I've captured. I think the only one that I have, which I have caught that has had a special attachment, was the full spec camera, the beam one. That's the only one. But every other one I've caught has all been without any.
I mean, the full spectrum is good, and the infrared, but you've got to keep in mind that these bounce lights still. They still, you know, they can also cast shadows, like the Kinect, for example. You could have the Kinect going, and you know, a person could be standing in front of the Kinect, and it looks like a shadow person is behind them, but it's actually their shadow being cast. And that's because the Kinect, because you can't see the light with your own eyes, it is surrounding that person. And it can bounce off objects and stuff like that. If you're taking a photo and you're using flash or you're using a light, now I could put my mobile on, for example, just to give you, okay. Now I will put on the camera and set it so that, hang on. So I've got the light on, okay. So I don't know whether you can see, hang on. No, it'll have to be on video. There we go. So see the light. Now, see how bright it is. Imagine having that in your face. Now, spirit do not like the light. They absolutely hate it. And so many times I've caught them saying, turn off that light, you know, and so that's when I stopped doing that. And I have then, from not doing that, caught the best evidence of spirit, because I stopped using the light. So initially, yes, I'm as guilty as every single person out there. I used to, when I would record, I would put the light on, and then I was getting, you know, some things that were like, okay, well, when I looked back at it, some of those videos in the past I removed because I thought, that's not spirit, you know, because I've seen how spirit energy, such as without, you know, being on camera, without the flash, without the light, I thought, no, I have just made a fool of myself. I'm going to delete that video. So I had gone back and I deleted so many videos from my YouTube, because I thought, no, I'm not presenting spirit. I'm going like everyone else out there and jumping to conclusions. That light was bouncing off a dust orb. That was, you know, when I looked in it, I mean, because now I've got different software, I can zoom in closer. That looks like bloody wings. That's a bug, you know, and this would be on location. So that had to go. And mind you, I had some fantastic EVPs. Now, that one where I've got the spirit gown, it looks like a gown crossing in front of the actual camera. There was nothing in front of that camera, no infrared light in front of that camera. That camera, to show you, I've got it here, is this. This was the camera, and I had it sitting on the ground. Now, it does not have any full spectrum light with it. It was just sitting on the ground, which has always been the best way of capturing great evidence, because when you've got a camera going and you've got it at ground level, that's where your spirits are coming up through. And you're going to capture their voices so audibly because you're not holding it. Your hands aren't making any type of motion or rustling sound from, moving it around and stuff like that. I mean, look at this. It's got the little grip thing, but you've got your fingers on it. It might have little bits of, on the plastic, because it is plastic. You can hear that. That rustling is fingers moving or going like this, or when you're moving your fingers around, especially if you've got nails, you're going to be tapping things, and people could get the impression, oh, that's, spirit. So put it down on the ground and don't touch it. Don't have a infrared in front of it. Just let it be. If you do have infrared that is from the side, and this is what the setup was like, just so you've got an idea. If anyone wants to try to capture spirit walking in front of their camera, I'll just draw it. This is where I had the camera on the ground. I don't know whether you can see that. And then over here on this side was one little bench, like a bench seat. And on this side was another bench seat. And I had an infrared light here, and I had an infrared light there. So the infrared was like towards each other. That's where it was showing the area lit up, because the infrared was there. But it wasn't directly at it. It wasn't like behind the camera or anything like that. It was just on the sides. And this spirit went right in front of the camera, and because of the infrared, it illuminated them. It actually allowed you could see the material. You could see it flowing past the camera. And then the E.V.P, oh my God, it was phenomenal, because I was mucking around with this GoPro camera I had just bought from Ghost Stop, and it was one of the full spectrum ones. I had my mobile in the car because it had like you could remote control it from a mobile phone. And so I had the mobile in the car, and when I went to the car, the thing wasn't recording. And I thought, bugger me. So I went over and I had a look at it, and that's where I'm saying this is weird, because there was the light flashing like it was recording, but there was nothing on the screen. And the funny thing was, in that video, you can hear the spirit saying, say goodbye. Say goodbye, probably to my GoPro. And on there, getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. And these were, other things that you have to take into account. Mosquitoes really do give off what looks like a illumination if they're going past lights and everything. That was just, that's why I said to the kid that was with me, who wanted to come along for a ghost hunt, I said, if you want to sit in the car, if you're getting, eaten alive. And he said, no, it's all right. Now, he was obviously male, but the voices that were there were so different to all of us. It was just so weird. It was a really weird event. And that was the first time that camera ever played up. The second time it played up, there was this strange, like a whirring sound in it. I mean, it's only when I go to this particular cemetery. Any other cemetery, I don't get it. This particular one, this is where Ruth is. There is just so much activity. There's like heaps of them. I think because they know me, they're coming up constantly around me. I've had one say hi to Gus for me. I don't even know a Gus. I don't even know if I've read for a Gus or, you know, spoken to a Gus. I mean, it's not a name that I'm familiar with anyway, but it's just, you know, things like that. If you've got the infrared either side and a camera sitting on the ground, you've got a great opportunity, a window of opportunity of capturing the actual essence of a spirit if they choose to walk in front of it. Because this female, the male that spoke to her after she crossed in front of the camera, he says, "You're not thinking." And she must have, you know, been indicated by him that the camera was there, and she goes, "Oh." And that's when I said, "Can you pick up?" Because I heard "you're not thinking," and I hear the female. I'm like, "Can you pick up that camera?" Because I thought, I wonder if I've caught anything, and yet I did. So it was a brilliant, you know, session. But, you know, going back to Pareidolia,
Yeah.
this is so important to make sure that you're not wearing clothes that give off a lot of rustling. Know that your hair's going to have dust. Know that if you're wearing a fleecy jumper, it's going to have dust come off it when you move. Little things like that. If you are walking, don't count E.V.Ps when you're walking, because it's going to most likely be your shoes shuffling, your clothes shuffling, that type of thing. If you're only noticing it as you're walking, there's your first clue, Sherlock. You know, you've got to, you know, stand still and ask them if they want to talk, and then just stay still or sit down. So that's why when I go to a cemetery, I always sit down and I just let them talk. And that's, I know I'm not moving because I'm sitting still. So what else have we got in the actual thing? Let me just have a look, because I wrote it down. Okay.
So
What is it?
I got no access.
Okay. So what do you think has its influence in our life with Pareidolia?
What do you mean by that question?
Well, what is its influence in our life? You know, like, what is the point of Pareidolia?
Point to it. That's something that is, isn't it? We always make what's the word? Try and straighten things out with out of chaos. You know, trying to get, if you've got chaos and you try and make sense of it, you know, it's just what our brains do, isn't it? But with regards to spirit communication, obviously, it's I think it's just something you just got to be very, very acutely aware of, you know. Like I say, I think it's going to be a personal thing anyway. You know, like I say, a lot of channels will put, you know, it comes out of that app or that ghost box as communication and try and force the annotations, because everything has to be, you know, a communication. Others go the other way around. You know, they hardly anything is anything, you know. So yeah, but we all, as I keep saying, we all have a spectrum or a line where we, you know, put on the scale what we would accept as or not, you know. Yeah, it's just a big thing, and it's quite a controversial topic, it seems, judging by, you know, I get the most thumbs down on those types of videos where about that kind of thing for whatever reason. I don't know. No comments. I never get a bloody comment. I wish I'd have a comment once in a while, just so I could find out what their viewpoint was. But people obviously can't or don't want to. Well, that's fair enough. But you know, it's just something you know to be aware of, and with this, Karen. Yeah, because I've got to YouTube.
Well, one of the influences I feel Pareidolia has in our life is being able to identify others. That's what its purpose is, because basically, you know, without having an identification or an identity as a visual, most people are going to then just rely on, you know, their senses. And of our senses, you know, pareidolia is really important. Even a person who is without sight can experience pareidolia through, you know, mishearing something, or, you know, thinking it's safe to walk, and then, you know, there's other sounds around them that they just, you know, they have a more established sense, if that makes sense to you, like their senses increase. But pareidolia in our life, I feel it is essential, because it does help us recognize others. It helps us recognize, and he's dropped out. It helps us to recognize a person from a character. It helps us to identify what's happened to him. He's dropped out. He froze. Oh God. I'll try and get him back. Hang on a sec. Oh, he's back. Okay. You disappeared. Oh, you poor bugger. This is what happens when you're a robot.
I think so, but charge up a bit, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually feel that, you know, it is essential to have in our life. I mean, other people in our chat might have another perception, you know, like another angle on what is the influence of that being in our life.
I love to hear everybody's angle, everybody's opinion on it. You know, there is no right or wrong on this topic.
Oh no, I'm.
You know,
this isn't a
personal.
No, absolutely not. It's just pointing out that some things out there aren't as they seem, and we can all be guilty of experiencing that. And as I said, I've been there. But really, if you want to capture proper, like, I mean, real spirit energy, because it is self-illuminated, you're better off not using a flash, honestly.
Oh, definitely.
So many people have the light on their video as they're recording, and you can tell because it's bouncing off different things. And sometimes if you're taking a photo and the flash goes off, if you notice, the flash seems to roll across the screen of a phone. You'll see the light sort of move from the left to the right, you know, that type of thing. And then you've got the image. So when you've got things like that, you've got to remember that if you've got like flash bouncing around the room, it can cause shadows in areas where there's no shadow. It can make things appear to be there when they're not. And I'm not saying it's always the case. Sure,
no.
Spirits do visit us. That's what
there is. I mean, some people will say.
Okay. It's like my father used to say, "You're frozen." Poor order. Are you still there? I don't know if he's still there. This is so funny. So hi to Caroline, Fallen Angel, Liz Hall, Albert. Who else have we got? We've got 11 viewers, and Mary Lou, Paranormal People, Kinvig, Paranormal People, Matt Graves, welcome. Who else have we got? Oh, E.V.P. Paranormal Science, hello. Sorry, I missed your post. Lady J. And I think that's it. That's all that's in chat, but we do have 10 viewers now, so that must have been order. Oh, hello, Momo. Yeah, so in regards of what I was talking about, how do we rule it out? I think I've covered that topic. Pretty much if you want to rule out pareidolia, just simple things like stand still. Try to hold your breath after you've asked a question. I know it's hard, but this will eliminate false positives. You've got to also remember to, if you're filming and you're in a location and it's you're near walls, or you're, say, in a prison type of thing, or under a tunnel, whatever, filming, if you talk, the reverb in your voice can actually shake off dust particles that have attached to the walls and the ceiling. And sometimes if there are people walking above, if they're in a house type of thing, you're going to have, that sound of people walking that is going to also loosen up dust that is on the ceiling. So you might capture some of that also. So it's really important whenever you're doing an investigation or you're deciding to do that, where you're video recording, and, turn off the flash, turn off the light. If you're going to use infrared, have one on this side, have one on that side, so that directly in front of you is not infrared, because you can get false positives in there. You might have dust, that type of thing showing up. I prefer the infrared on this side and that side, from my left and right, in the distance, so that if spirit does come into the picture, they aren't being blinded by any light from your camera, and things like that. So that's number one. And do not move. Try to stay still. Don't like,
Hold your breath.
don't swing your hair. Don't grab your jumper and move it. If you're in your bedroom, keep absolutely still for about an hour before you decide to film, because that doona is going to have dust, no matter how clean you are. And I'm one of these perfectionists. If I see like a speck of dust on the ground, I'm like, oh. And I know whether it's an OCD thing, but I'm cleaning, and I get frustrated because of the fact that here I am.
As a smoker, obviously there's going to be lots of particles flying about. For someone like me who's obviously a smoker, so so I have to be aware of on my videos, even if you cap. Or not,
and don't smoke if you can while you're doing investigation, because I don't smoke, and if there is like a spirit manifesting, sometimes they can give the illusion of smoke, and because of the way they rise, like they actually come up like this. But you've got to make sure that if you are going to do a investigation, there are also spirits that do not like the smell of smoke. Ask permission if you can smoke, but try to, stand against the wind if that's the case, so that way nothing's going in front of the camera, giving false positives and so on. The other thing is, don't breathe if you can when you're asking them to answer or say something. Just say what you want to say, take a quick breath, and then wait about 30 seconds or so. So that way your breathing isn't going to contaminate the actual thing, give this idea it's E.V.P. Another thing is, instead of holding the recorder in your hand when you're recording, put it down on a flat surface, so that any type of finger movement or tiny slight motion in your hand isn't going to cause a sound that is misconstrued into something else. That again is a pareidolia. So that would be my advice. Take it or leave it. But I do recommend, if you're going to want to capture real spirit activity, do not use a flash. Do not use a light of any source. It will shine. They're bright.
I do wonder with that 1 in a million picture I've got obviously assumed to be Charlie. That was taken on the first generation smartphone without a flash. Now, if I had the flash on, I wonder if the same would have come up, or how different it would look if it even did come up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the room wasn't dark, but the lights weren't on. It was evening, but the TV was on, you know. So the TV was causing the light source. If that makes sense. And obviously, as you can see, he's blocking out the TV, you know, blocking out our news at 10. But I do wonder how different it would be if a flash had occurred as opposed to just no flash, you know, if the image would even come out, you know.
You never know. But
well, no, I'm never gonna know. No, of course not.
you never know. But the thing is, don't use a flash. And a lot of times, if you think about it, cameras also have double flash on them. So it'll take one shot and then a second flash. It's sort of like flick, flick. And that can give false positives so many times, especially those little cameras where you click it and it's like click, click like that. You've got like it's not so much click, click, but it's the flash. You get one flash, then another. And this is where it can give the false positives big time. So I don't trust those little cameras, those little, you know, handheld ones, especially like Canon or whatever, because you're going to get false positives. You're going to get dust storms. And if you're going to take a photo, don't use the flash. Simple. Because if you get a light anomaly that manifests if you're recording and you get one, it seems to blink like this. And I've got a video. If you have a look at that, you know, welcome to the High Priestess video. There's one in there where it's in the room. You see it. It looks like it's blinking. It really does. It's almost green in a color. It seems to open up from nowhere. It just manifests like this, and then it closes. And I zoom into that so you can actually see it doing it. And that is an energy orb. Energy orbs are spirit orbs. So don't use flash. Don't use light. And I guarantee there'll be people who will be wanting to cheat. They'll be wanting to use the light because
there'll be people.
They'll be like, "Oh, I'm not getting anything. I'm frustrated." So.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, after a while, trust me, if you stick it out and you show the spirits that you are patient with them, they will be willing. If they really want you to see them anyway, then they're going to show themselves without the light, without that flash.
I think patience is certainly important. I mean, you know, we lived in an active house for a decade, and like I said, I got my spirit box in the throes of it declining big time. Now, when I got my spirit box, I was all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get so much communication. I was quite cocky about it. It actually took me a good couple of months to get anything, you know. I read it so, and the only reason why I persevered is because I knew it worked, because of obviously you know what I know. But if I was somebody new to this and just trying a spirit box and didn't know that it worked, if that makes sense, I probably would have thrown in the towel. Gone, this doesn't work. This really does not work, you know. So it's only because I knew it worked, I carried on, and well, yeah, here we are. You've seen some of the videos, and I've had other stuff that's not on video that's, you know, quite interesting, you know. But for 2 months, I got nothing but a broken radio going round and round in circles, you know, when I hadn't really thought that I was actually going to get something amazing and groundbreaking, and was really cocksure of myself because of the situation we were in, you know.
Well, there's a lot who go in thinking that they're going to have that, you know, straight away. Look at my channel, how frequently I will upload something. It's because spirit don't always want to be seen. And you've got to respect that, you know. And before you even go filming and stuff like that, I do recommend let the spirits in the area know what you're doing. I had that, and that's why that, you know, like that location that I told you about where the down goes cross, that's why that one says you're not thinking. Obviously, you know, they were aware that I was filming, because I did say I'm recording, this is what this does, blah blah blah. And you know, people might say, oh, you're crazy telling them, and so on, but it's respect. And the more you build up respect with a spirit, the more they're going to be inclined to want to, you know, interact.
Cooperative.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen straight away. I've had cases where I've gone to locations, and because of all the Ghostbusters that have gone out there before me, they've destroyed it. They have, you know, put.
This one went about 30 East Drive. Everyone raves on about 30 East Drive, but it gets, you know, so many people go there over and over and over again, you know, and like, surely. I don't know much about 30, so I don't know what entity resides there or doesn't reside there anymore, so to say. But I do wonder if it's where so many people have gone there where they use it as a tourism thing, you know, and to make money. But oh dearie me, you know, if there's actually anything even there anymore, because wow, you know, just overkill. So many people visiting for that intent and purpose of just, you know, like a circus to put on an act and capture spirit, throw in a bottle or whatever, you know what I mean? Or an E.V.P saying devil. Yeah.
Yeah. And now going to the spirit box. The spirit box is a broken radio. That is basically what a spirit box is. But it also allows them to manipulate or hijack the voices. The faster the actual spirit box is going, if you've got intelligent voices coming through, like that one, you know, from the DeFeo family, when I, in the first bit where I say yes or no, and he says yes, marvelous. I'm like, oh my God, that was a deep voice. And the good thing is that was from the live stream. It wasn't something that anyone could accuse me.
Say anything when it's live. I'll always get
right.
When it's live.
When it's live, you can't turn around and say, "Oh, you've layered a voice on that," because it's in the live stream and it's taken directly from the live stream. That if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. I actually took those parts, which I felt, you know, I mean, it took me forever. I don't know what was going on. As I said last week, I don't know whether it's paranormal or what, but for some reason, I had this massive problem with putting that audio and subtitling, you know, what was coming through that spirit box in, you know, using those segments. And because I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to just have the whole hour or so, and it went for nearly 3 hours, the thing, but I'm going to get those bits, which I feel are, you know, very intelligent, and they're direct responses. Absolutely. The highlights. So that video is on the thing. It's called like, was it Ghostly Voices of the Amityville, you know, thing, the Amityville murders. I really didn't expect to get them, to be honest with you, because I don't know. I thought, why would they want to talk to me? But it's, I must admit,
like celebrity to die and have like why would a celebrity that really wouldn't talk to you in real life, you know, would suddenly think in death, I'd like to talk to you. I think they want to go see their family, I guess. But I don't know, you know, like in your case, there's a reason they did want to talk, you know, whatever that reason would be. I think it's more likely to happen than a bloody dead celebrity that's just gone by.
Exactly. And that's the other thing too, because of
motives,
the fact it's been,
and motives probably have a lot to do with it. You've got very different motives to say someone like her, you know.
Well, I mean, look at the time that's lapsed. You know, they have been in spirit for over 30 more, well, what is it, over 40 years or so. So that's a long time to be in the spirit realm. And when you think about, okay, there's nothing that is floating around on any type of radio about the Amityville. I don't believe that there is a new Amityville thing. I don't believe. Yeah, I mean, and they even said the name DeFeo. Through. Exactly. So things like that, you know, they can't just be
this is another
paranormal.
thing as well. With the experience, I spend a lot of time listening to radio, especially when I was on the taxis. I spent hours listening to it, so I have an idea at what time of day the certain topics that will be spoke about and stuff. And that's why I'm quite confident in certain things. You're not going to hear the devil or slut or I'm dead, you know, all the buzzwords, you know. You're not
Yeah.
going to hear that on this radio station. You're not. You know, I mean, if it is, it's because a DJ is having a breakdown, and trust me, he's going to be fired, you know. But you know, so I'm quite confident on that front because I know what radio stations. I listen to all sorts of radio. I spend a lot of time listening to radio, so I know what they'll be talking about, and you know what I'm trying to say. So
Mhm.
I'm very aware of my surroundings on that, which helps obviously. So I can eliminate. Well, that's just a radio broadcast because you know, whatever reason.
Exactly. And this is where we have to decide when we're asking intelligent questions. I mean, there's going to be radio rubbish that comes through.
Oh
And
yeah, well, that's
it,
how it
you know,
works, isn't it?
there's nothing
Hey,
wrong with saying that is rubbish. You know, that is not,
yeah.
that's not
I
spirit.
think people are scared of doing that quite a lot. People are quite scared of doing that. I don't know why, but yeah, yeah.
Mm. So there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There's nothing wrong with saying that's radio rubbish, or no, I don't feel like this is an intelligent response. If
Yeah,
if you can say to them, okay, I need a yes or a no to this. Are you know, don't just give me any random word or anything like that. I want specifics. I want
definitive.
to
Yeah,
know specifically what, you know,
yeah,
what color is the you know, the paper I'm writing on, or you know, what, can you repeat this word after me? The word is rose. So if they
yeah,
say rose, I mean, it's sometimes it sounds like they're singing the words. And of course, we do have music on radio. Duh. It's not like, you know, we don't have any music, but there are
yeah.
times where you're going to have spirit manipulate sound. They're
Oh, the
going to create,
sing-song replies, they call them the sing-song replies.
yeah,
Harmonic is the word they call it.
exactly.
Harmonic.
And you get those types of sing song replies, as you put it, even in E.V.P.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, what I'll do, I'll play for you that audio that,
Okay.
if you haven't heard it, bear with me for a second. This is,
Yeah, I have heard it, but to play it again anyway.
so see if you can hear it. This one is where the child says,
Yeah,
stop
that was
reading,
mad.
stop
That was
reading.
insane. My wife was the one who bought that, and she was like, "You got to listen to this." I go, what?
So in the first bit, you can actually hear her say, huh, or something like that, you know, like she's trying to get my attention. And as I'm
Yeah.
shuffling, you can hear her talking. So I hope it comes through okay. So I'll just, hang on, let me just see if I can, bear with me for a second.
Better do that.
Yeah, this is, to me, it's amazing. All right, so here we go. Becoming very maternal or having maternal feelings. Now, she is. Now, stop reading and talk to me. And I'm shuffling. It looks like I've got a visitor here. So that was with the shuffling, that can't be considered to be producing that voice, because all the different,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you could say, yeah, it's pareidolia, but these are specific words. Stop reading
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
talk
clear.
to me. If that was the case,
It's a
it would
class
be, yeah, it would be a consistent.
class E.V.P.
Yeah, that is a class A. This one saying free me. This is a male who I captured. See that?
So clear.
And it's very,
Just,
very metallic-y.
yeah, it's a lot harder to decipher that one.
Yeah, that that one says free me. So you've got to listen to it a few times. But I mean, I usually will say, okay, listen to it without looking at the subtitles. And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you can hear this, what is being said, then great, because everybody is different. So many people have been only listening to radio or spirit boxes or apps, and that's all they can hear because, if they've been watching Huff, for example, or other, videos where it's just that being used, they expect every single EVP to be that audible. But that's not EVP. That is I.T.C. So
yeah,
if you get something that is clear, I mean, this father, I don't know whether, I mean, I could say he wanted so much to hear from his daughter that he could have made anything out of what she was saying. But
sure.
I heard her very, very clearly beside me saying, "Stop reading and talk to me." And this little voice, and I thought, okay. So I I heard her. I said to him, "What do you think she said?" He said, "She said, stop reading and talk to me." He heard it.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not something that you can say, well, I'm hearing this and they're hearing that. If that is the
yeah,
case, then that's a questionable EVP. So that one,
yeah,
free me, you might have heard something else, like leave
yeah,
me, or,
yeah, yeah,
that type of thing. But when you're wearing headphones, that's the best way to listen to EVPs. Wear the
yeah,
headphones, because if you've got no headphones on, you're going to be, having external white noise around you. You're going to have, like little creaks and what have you. And that's going to interfere with your being able to concentrate. But
yeah,
it was really, that was mind blowing. I loved it because of the fact that it validated for him that his little girl was wanting to communicate. So that was sweet. And yeah, but with the spirit boxes, we've got to understand too. I mean, we have some people who have a go at people who make the apps saying that they're using the words in the apps. Well, really, the spirit box is no different because it has not got chopped up words. There are still full words being used in the spirit box. They're random. They're all over the place. But sometimes with the apps, you can have ones that are they're full sentences. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
they're not
Well,
just one word.
divination box is literally a
Yeah,
10-minute MP3. I mean, that's not. I don't
no, that's
understand
right.
how that would be of any beneficiary, but
No. If you've got full sentences in there, that is not, I mean, like things like I'm dead or I'm
yeah,
God and stuff like that. If they are full sentences saying that, then that's not spirit. That is the app, or that is, what is being used. But that's why it's best to have something that mixes or garbles it all up. But then again, this is a game where you've got to be really, really careful
mm,
of hearing what might sound like a word, but it's not,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
it's phonics. When we have phonics,
yeah,
this is what produces our voice, our words. So again, you've got to be really careful. Just think about, okay, what was the question I was asking? And what was the intelligent reply? If there was nothing, then chances are you hadn't made any connection. And there's nothing wrong with not making a connection, because sometimes
no,
it takes time. Sometimes they
yeah,
don't want to talk. Just as
yeah. I've had a massive. I mean, someone said to me, "You haven't done spirit boxes for a long time." Actually, I have done quite a few off of camera, but they've been zero success. I haven't, I haven't got the connection or the contact. No, it's just because I don't know what the reason is, but I've been locked out almost, so I have struggled to make contact over the past month or two,
Mm-hmm. And it can happen. And it doesn't mean that you've failed. It doesn't mean that you're no good. I think I question ones that have weekly videos of
Oh
paranormal.
yeah, every single bloody session is top notch,
Exactly.
and yeah, no.
No, it. Look, I've had them around me since God knows how long, and with Chris, as you know, when he wants to say something, he will interject. There's no one's going to stop Chris from, having his voice or his opinion, or interfering with the audio and so on. But with that said, he can be very quiet, and there
Yeah.
are times where he won't say anything. He will just sit back and he'll okay, I just got the flash over there. So, and this is, I can only say what I saw, but you've only got to take my
Yeah.
word for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so again, it goes down to the will of the spirit. They do have free will. They are not puppets. They are not, little sideshow alley things where, they're there for everyone's entertainment. Like Chris said that time when I said, would you stand in the doorway so I can see if this thing works? And that was that SLX cam. And I was testing it out, and I said, I don't want to have you up against near things. I want to see you in the doorway, so that it's showing it's not a false positive, because you see so many videos with the Connect as an example. You've got something like a door there. So, for all there could be a wood grain that is giving a pareidolia effect, because computers can also identify faces and figures
Yes,
out
yeah.
of out of clouds, out of shapes and so on. So if a computer can make a mistake, and we can too. So
Yeah.
if we can make a mistake, computers can make mistakes because they're made by humans. So
Yeah.
in that respect, that's why I say, okay, I when we used to do our live stream and they would turn the light on, if you remember that, and I said that time,
Yes.
can you
Yeah.
wave? And they
Mhm.
waved, so
Yeah.
that was on our live stream. In
Yeah.
real time, then they won't do it anymore. Maybe one day they will, but
Yeah.
they,
There's a big controversy over it,
yeah,
isn't there?
it was a horrible thing. They were quite offended. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, spirits still have feelings and emotions as well. You can offend them. So it's really important, to have the utmost respect at all times when it comes to spirit. Otherwise, all it takes is you to fickle them once and they won't cooperate. And we were having some terrific ones come through in their live streams. Remember when we'd say, okay, can you turn the light on now? And
Yeah.
they were ready. They were so happy because of the
Yeah.
they were being acknowledged, and they were proving to others that they
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah.
And
I was
then,
gonna say.
yeah, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. So it's a shame that got spoiled because of one person. But what do you do? Um, but anyway, that's pretty much all that I can think of on pareidolia. You've probably got some input. There's what's this?
Um.
An angel.
I have, but I've obviously I think I've said a lot of my piece on the live stream, and I think people generally get the message anyway. I mean, I've made people aware of it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you should unsubscribe to other channels because they say everything comes out is communication when clearly not everything that comes out is communication. Not at all. There's no right or wrong in the sense, but it's just a case of yeah, being aware, but this is for your own benefit, not any other channel's benefit, or but your own sessions at home. You can be a bit more critical, and as you said, it doesn't matter if you have got a non-contact session. A lot of us get non-contact session. I mean, look at me, I'm going through like a bit of a hiatus thing at the moment, where I am struggling to get contact of late for whatever reason that would be, you know. Probably just 'cause I moved house, but yeah, but yeah, all right. I had that Devil's Angel session. That was quite interesting, and you know, I mean, the cemetery wasn't a complete waste, but it isn't anything like that I have done in the past, you know. But there's nothing wrong. You haven't failed or anything like that. You're being a much better investigator, if I want to use that word, being critical of your own stuff and go, oh, hang on a minute. I don't think, you know, me trying to force an annotation into this, or maybe, you know, you're adamant that actually that is communication. Don't care what anyone says about this pareidolia lark. That is it. And if you're adamant that it is, and you've got that feeling or whatever, or your connection to spirit or whatever, then that's fine. That's fine. You know, this is a personal thing. It's not to dismiss anybody's session either, because I had a very good comment from somebody who says, what makes you sort of qualified to be able to say what's pareidolia, especially as you haven't been doing ghost box sessions for a little while. I said, well, I've been watching ghost box sessions, obviously what I've had in my house, but you know, just go to the ghost box for a minute. I've been watching them since 2011, so that's like sort of 7 years of watching. And I've got all right, yeah, I'm on a hiatus at the moment with spirit box sessions, but I have got, you know, about 250 sessions under me, not to mention double that probably offline as well. You know, I'm not being dismissive of anyone else's spirit box sessions. I'm being dismissive of my own sessions. You know, I think I qualify to dismiss my own sessions. So, you know, you're not going to find me going into comments of other people and going, no, your spirit box session was just pure pareidolia and shit. I think that's what a lot of people worry about. I think I'm just gonna like fire off at other people and say how bad the spirit thing and that it's all pareidolia. No, not at all. I just want to make you aware of these things, and that way you can be a lot more critical of your own sessions, and also as well will help you find when you have got a decent that you can be legitimately say, yeah, this is a really good capture. I've
Exactly.
asked a question, I've got
And
a reply, and you know,
these are the ones that are strong, intelligent replies that are just without a shadow of a doubt impossible to state this is radio or this is app or this is, you know, something moving. But as I mentioned, you can do a process of elimination to safeguard yourself so you're not wasting your time or others who are watching you. You know, like as I said, you know, think about your audience, think about spirit. Do they want to be, you know, or would you like to be a spirit? Let's just turn the tables. Would you like to be a spirit and be accused of saying something you didn't?
Yeah, is that way of looking at it, I suppose.
Because there are cases where they can say something to you that is really sweet, and because of rustling of clothes or some other movement at that time, it distorts that sound. You know, they have to use energy to talk because they don't have a voice box like we do. They don't have a physical like we do. So they have to use the energy in their environment to be able to, one, manifest. And this is where, you know, you will get certain colors appear. Like if you get a red glow, it doesn't mean demonic because it's red. You know, spirit.
Oh yeah, everything black
Exactly.
is
Like
demonic.
Chris
I mean,
said,
even spirits that do save the devil and stuff, that we don't know that they're demons. They could just be spirits having a bloody good giraffe. You know, I know I'd probably have a bit of a laugh if I was, you know, in that realm, and I'd say I'm Lucifer, sod it. You know, I'd have a right change
how do you
with
know
somebody
that
who's that easy.
that could
You
be a
know.
spirit saying to you that you have
You're the
attracted
devil, yeah,
something?
you're the devil because they're unsure of, you know. I mean, I'll never forget, you know, like I said, like again, this is going back to pareidolia. I'll never forget my first ghostly experience was at Roundway Hill, where that spiritualist took us, you know, me and the hardest kid in the class, and we saw that spirit cavalier peering over his shield. He was looking at us, and I think the expression was like, the hell, because obviously our clothes are from the future, you know, we must have looked totally alien to him with our jeans and stuff, you know. And this is a big war that's going on. So who are you? Are you the baddie? What the hell? You know, like I said, I could have been pure pareidolia because it's pitch black, no torches. My eyes were making things out of almost, but we all saw it, so to say.
All of
You know,
you
but
saw the same thing.
yeah, we all saw the same thing, the three of
Yeah.
us. So
But then it's very hard. I mean, if you see, let me just put it this way, if you see something and then you go towards it and it vanishes.
yeah, yeah. Well, we waited for it to fade out. We didn't
Yeah.
approach it close. We just stood there and just looked at it. It sort of faded away after a while.
Yeah. Well, pareidolia doesn't fade. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah. Good point. Good
sorry,
point. Yeah, because
pareidolia
it's a
fades.
tree. If it's a
But
tree with two little eyes and nose, the tree isn't going to disappear, is it?
well, yeah, that's pareidolia, but
Mm,
spirit can dissipate. So
yeah.
that's the
It just
difference.
sort of
Is
slid
if
into blackness. You know, it just sort of faded away after like a minute or two.
that's
It's
right.
very strange. I think it's one of the only times I think I've ever seen a spirit in full form like that. You know, my wife's seen Charlie a few times, but I never got to see Charlie. I only got to interact with him with the what do they call it, sleep paralysis thing going on, and heard his voice. And obviously, I had the Christmas Carol thing. I've had the open air music, World War II like music, but I never got to see
Actually,
him
there was one
other than the
occasion.
photo.
I don't know whether
Eh?
you saw. I don't know whether you saw that video. There was one occasion I actually did a live stream to the Facebook page, just out going to a very old 18th century. I think it was like 1700 and 1800 century, which wasn't far from I think Parramatta at the time. And I thought I'll
Yeah.
pull in there and I'll just see if there's any activity there. And at one point at this particular grave, there were men that were singing,
Right.
but not physical men, if you know what I mean. And it came
Right.
out. It came out over. It was like they were in harmony. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you're on about. It's with the open air speak and the after the Christmas Carol, we had a like a noise from underneath the Christmas tree, like underneath our bed, and carry on, carry on.
yeah, so it came out, and I was lucky enough to have that captured on the
Yeah.
actual iPhone at the time. So, and playing it back, I
Oh, I
thought,
wish
oh,
I had. I
yeah,
really wish I captured my open air speak and open air music on a phone or whatever. That would just be absolutely amazing. Although I'd probably be accused of putting a stereo on or something. I don't know. But like I say, with anyone who's ever experienced open air speak, the thing that gets you the most about it is how bloody loud.
yeah.
It's never quiet or just hear it. It's actually quite loud and off-putting. Like like wow,
Well,
okay,
welcome to my world. That's
yeah,
how it sounds to
yeah.
me when I've got
So
one.
it's not quite just about hear it or like, oh, did I really hear that? No, no. It's probably it's like someone emanates from as well. That's the spooky bit because it emanates out of like nothingness
Mhm.
and yeah, loud. It's very bizarre. I've only had a handful of times, probably about 5 to 8 times probably in a decade of that house. But by God, yeah, I'll never forget how loud it is. Really,
Mm.
that's the thing. You know.
It is wonderful, especially when they allow you to capture it. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
I
like
wish. A lot of the time you don't even think, oh, I'll go get the camera or whatever, because you're just sort of in awe of it. Especially, like a Christmas Carol thing. I thought it was just genuinely Christmas carolers at midnight. But why would it not be, hey, go to the top of the landing and the Christmas caroling of Silent Night is actually the voices emanating from the sort of the roof area. That ain't no. I mean, it's being sung quite creepy like as well. That ain't no Christmas carolers. That's them or whatever they are, But I didn't think, oh, quickly run, grab the. Oh, I wasn't even on YouTube, I don't think. So that's another reason. I only came on YouTube to do a bloody random video, and that was that. If I had plans of going onto YouTube and throwing everything I got, then yeah, I would have documented things a lot better. But we were scared of being either laughed at or becoming a tourist attraction, one of the two, because we were obviously very anti-social, not anti-social, but anti-social media. We really
yeah,
didn't want to be in the limelight or anything, and besides, we always felt I'd be a bit of a sellout to do that, and a bit unfair on the entity that has given us a privilege to have such close contact to prove that these things exist. Because as a diehard skeptic at the time, it flipped my whole belief system and everything. It actually messed me up a little bit because, well, if this stuff exists, does that mean God and stuff and the Easter Bunny exists too? Oh shit, you know. So it's, yeah, it did play on me a bit mentally. Like, oh my God, everything that I was adamant and sure of, I'm not so much now. You
Yeah.
know, these things do exist.
And it really is a beautiful experience.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be without. I'm lucky to experience the stuff. I mean, yes, you know, I wish I could have put it on YouTube, but only I know what I've experienced, you know, and yeah, I wish I could put people in my own eyes and my and this the open air speak especially happened, and you know, I really wish I could and share it that way because Jesus Christ, you know, yeah, you know, I'm lucky, very lucky to got it. If I didn't, you know, meet my wife, if that makes sense. If I, you know, met somebody else or whatever, you
you
know,
might
it was her that they were with, not me, you know.
know. Hmm.
So that
Well,
was
that just shows that they accepted you. Um,
yeah. They kicked off a few ex-boyfriends to never return. It's quite amusing.
oh, bless her heart.
We have our witnesses as well. That's another thing. We've had people come and stay at our house, and we haven't told them that we've got what we've got, you know, and that you know they wouldn't come back again after because of the things they experienced. And some would tell us what they experienced. Others wouldn't say. They say we just don't want to go back to your house. Sorry. Oh, okay. So we done. No, nothing you've done. No, no. But you know, we've had quite a few witnesses as well that have freaked them out. That's kind of funny, I guess.
It is it really is an honor when you've got that trust in you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
whenever that happens, just say thank you so much for, um, you know, when anyone experiences something unique without a spirit box or without any apps and stuff like that, when you have that unique connection with spirit, remember to always thank them and
yeah,
show your gratitude, because if they see you as eager to just record every single thing, they're going to
yeah,
say, nah, this person,
yeah,
I don't trust that they're going to use me or what I'm doing in the right light. You know, many of them will, I mean, like Chris, that time when I asked him to stand in the doorway, he said, I'm not an effing dog. And I knew,
yeah.
I
I
knew,
do wonder as well that the experiences I've had is it because there wasn't a camera close on? They always play it when the camera is off. It's always the joke of the cliche. Oh yeah, when the camera's not about, you know, isn't that convenient? But you know,
but that's how they are. You know,
mm,
they you can't predict spirit. You can't. I mean,
they might have rules. People think they might have rules what they can and cannot show you. You know, like
well, I haven't encountered that. All I've encountered is I don't have to. They have free will.
yeah, yeah,
Look at Albert.
sure,
You know, that time when I
yeah,
first went to the office and I was supervising, like seeing how the painting was coming along, and they just put down the bamboo floor and everything like that. And I was thought, oh well, it's looking pretty good. And I felt someone around me, and I said, um, "Tell me your name." And
yeah.
then he moved a box across the floor, which fortunately was captured in the reflection of the actual display cabinet. And at the
Uh,
same time as he moved it, he said, next time. And
okay.
I, he, that mongrel made me wait 2 months to
Huh.
tell me who his name. I think he was sussing me out. When I moved to
Yeah,
the office, I kept having him, you know, he'd come up behind me. I'd be making a coffee and he'd tap me on the shoulder and I'd turn around and I'd hear a laugh. I thought, okay,
yeah,
I've got a comedian.
yeah,
Albert,
yeah,
he sent a lot of different spirits to me, to my home, you know, so
yeah,
you know, there are times that Albert's around and, you know, he's not around as much lately. He's been very quiet. So he may be at the, he may be at the office still. But that's where he was when I first met him. And it got to the point we became good friends, you know, because we
yeah.
built up a rapport, we built up a respect. And there was one there, and I had to laugh. He would call himself the poltergeist. but he would never physically move things across the, and poltergeists, in my opinion, are spirits that move things and are really noisy. But he didn't do that. He was just like to say, poltergeist got appetite.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I always wondered whether that was another side of Albert's personality, like a bit of a warped sense of humor, because I never saw this so-called poltergeist. But But again, I think tonight's topic was beneficial. I don't know whether anyone's taken anything from it, but if you have, great.
I'd like to think enough. I mean, I know it's controversial. Like I say, I got quite. I don't usually get thumbs down matching the thumbs up. I always get thumbs down because I got hate watchers, and they're my biggest fans because they're always there first thing. And if I give them something, that's brilliant. But they're quite. Not one comment though, as usual. Not one bloody comment, which is funny. But it's obviously quite a controversial subject, and it's people do feel a bit like, wow, fucking Alder's getting on his high horse or whatever. I don't know what they think, but hey, hence comment. I know what you're thinking then, but But it's just to make you aware of these things, and I was really glad with Crimson. I can't remember Dave. He's a good lad. He gave me a very interesting comment, a debate comment about me being qualified for working at Pareidolia because I'm on a hiatus at the moment with the Spirit Box, and that was a good debate or comment. I mean, I told you what I said, about I've got 250 sessions, been watching since 2011, whatever, And I'm not here to drag down anyone else's session. You won't see me going on other people's videos saying, "Oh no, just I'm only going to be it's only I feel qualified enough to dismiss my own sessions, or whatever, But if you are getting messages from my sessions but I feel dismissive, but you're getting the messages, that's okay as well. If you're getting something from that's not a problem. It's going to be on a personal level, isn't it? But if you're aware of it and
that again could be that case of spirit communicating with the individual.
Yeah. That's a bit of a phenomenon, isn't it, as well? So yeah. I mean, a lot of people. I did that experiment where I kept my stream open up all night using the PL660, but I was running it in what you call shortwave form. Now, shortwave form lasts about, I kid you not, between 5 minutes for each cycle. Like on a normal case box, about 30 seconds, isn't it, to get from one end to the other to repeat, the cycle. But on that shortwave, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes. It takes a long time to get from one end to the other. And all I did was leave the stream open while going to sleep in bed, use it as like a live ghost box. But quite a few people commented back and emailed me and said, oh yeah, I use it as a live ghost box, and I got my name or somebody else's name. Now, I haven't gone through it, so I have no idea if it's Pareidolia or if it is facts or maybe it's different on their device. It sounds different. I don't know, but it's an interesting experiment. And a lot of people said that they got some beneficiary out of it, which is fine. That's great.
That's that's actually a good idea. I know that what's his name? Oh, I've had a blank.
Holte? About Holte?
Yes.
Live ghost box?
I'm so sorry, Steve. Steve Holte. Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
I've forgotten your Holte. Forgotten your name.
I'm terrible with names. Numbers I'm good with, but names, forget it.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing? Stop touching me. So yeah, that his live streams are really good because it actually allows different people to get that experience, with the spirit that want to communicate. And if they can ask a question and that spirit replies intelligently or repeats what they're saying, then there is, you can't say it's all pareidolia. But just to reiterate what Order said, this is not a video live stream to take a dig at anybody. I've pulled apart and taken down some of my videos from the past that I thought, nah. After seeing it on a bigger screen, and also the fact that, you know, like I'm much wiser and stuff like that with, you know, hardware or software that, you know, cameras and equipment. I never used to use cameras. I never used to use mobiles. So all this technology had, you know, it was exciting, but you've also got to be careful because there are some things that you will get grand illusions of. As I said, I used to use the light on the actual video as I was filming, and they kept saying to me, turn off the light, turn off the light, it's hurting my eyes, things like that.
Yeah.
And if you think about, if someone just walked up to you, or if you walked in the room and someone flashed a light in your face several times, you wouldn't be very happy, would you? You know?
Yeah.
So you've got to have respect. And if that spirit really wants to be seen, they will show themselves and you won't need a light to see them. So think of it that way. You know, are you being respectful to spirit by taking a photo or recording them without their knowledge? Would you like someone doing it to you? And so all these things have to be taken into account, you know, and that's why many of my past videos where I've gone through, I've removed them because I've noticed, okay, well, that's not an orb, that's a bug, or that's dust, you know, and there is a logical explanation for that gone. You know, I prefer to try and keep it all real. So hopefully, and
best way to be.
yeah, if everyone, you know, questions their own stuff, you know, just go through it and ask yourself, okay, did I use a flash at this time? Could that light had bounced back off something and then cast a shadow, causing it to give this illusion? You've got to go through the pros and cons of every investigation. If you go in with intent of catching things off guard, you won't make a respectful communication with that spirit. You will have them, I mean, the word gets around in the spirit world, believe you me. It's like a room.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Just look at Huff. How many times have you heard Huff being a negative connotation?
Exactly. Well, look at that time when Chris burst out laughing when I pointed to Huff's head. And he said, this guy's a joke. And I recorded him because I pointed and it was this belly laugh. And I said, can I record this? And he said no. And then he started laughing again. I thought, I've got to get this. You know, it was incredible. But this is where, you know, again, it comes down to respect. If spirit think you're a joke, they aren't going to cooperate. They're going to treat you like an idiot. They're going to make you look like an idiot. They're going to, you know, they're going to throw you false positives as well, where you might think while you're recording and you're putting up the subtitles or whatever, you're going to see that.
Look at the dinosaur. I mean, sometimes, you know, when I'm being really respectful and stuff, that dinosaur does everything on command. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I get edgy and cocky, it's starting making it look like a broken toy and makes me look like a complete idiot. You know, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that with a dinosaur, but you know, I've got everything is on command, just right as it should be. You know, asking them to set it off at the right time.
Exactly.
And when I keep asking and pushing more, then they start just fucking about and just setting it off all the time and having a laugh at my own expense, making me look like an idiot. You know?
Yeah, and they'll do it. I've had it done to me, and this was a time when, as I said, when I started to get into technology like cameras. I used to do photography, and there were times when I would be doing like newborn portraits, and this strange light would go across the baby. Now, I never used any flash on babies because I was always wary of, okay, if I'm using a flash, their eyes are very sensitive. They're newborns. They might be opening their eyes a little. What damage is that flash going to do? Even if it's only temporary, I don't believe in using the flash. So I just use like these, large white lights, you know, that
Yeah.
were sort of like, they weren't bright, but they were like a nice soft light kind of thing, and a natural setting.
Good.
And it was this weird haze. And at that point, that's why I thought, this is incredible. Then I went to this location. I did like a maternity shoot. So I had these mums that came along. I didn't charge them. I said, okay, we're going to have this and we're going to have that around you. And we went over near even a cliff face. There was this great big cliff. All the backdrop was the ocean and everything. Like, it was absolutely beautiful. And right beside this mother stood what looked like a soldier. And you can see his face, you can see the silhouette of him. And this was without a flash. This was just in open, you know, location. And he was there. And that, you know, I thought, hang on, they're letting me take their photos. And at that time, before that, I had not gone out on location to do any photos or recording or anything, because I never thought that I would be able to capture them. You know, honestly, I never thought they would let me. But they were they were approaching me again. And that's where I then got back into doing my readings and everything like that, because it was like they were forcing me back into it. So everything just happened for a reason. And then when I started to put, sorry?
I've run out of time now, so I've got to go, unfortunately.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. I'm glad that you're better.
Yeah, I was like shit this morning. I don't know what that was about, but I thought, oh, not very well, but I just had a load of coffee and seemed to feel a bit better then as well. So, yeah. But yeah, I was pretty shitty this morning for whatever reason.
Might have been when you were out in that cold.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Can you hear me? No, he's gone. Will he pop back in? Only time will tell. Okay. So who's going to try to ask Spirit if they can show themselves without taking the flash or having the light going? Don't expect it straight away. That's what I'll just say. Don't expect them to want to appear straight away. But I would be absolutely loving it if you can share your link. If you've done that and you do put up a video and you do get that permission, always going with absolute love and respect. You don't have to go, oh, I call upon the spirit world and, you know, act like a airhead. Just talk to them like you would a normal person. You don't have to get all airy-fairy, because spirits don't need all that dramatic kind of stuff. You just ask them to come through, be polite, just say, look, I would absolutely be so honored if you will allow me to record you. I'm not going to have the light on because I understand that it, you know, it may hurt your eyes or it may affect you manifesting properly. If you do that, if you're trying to get an E.V.P, Scott, I would keep at it, be patient, but don't goat them. Don't, you know, if you're sitting there saying, you know, I don't believe you exist and blah, 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 trying to sort of use reverse psychology on spirits, it won't work. And if it does, it means that they're done with you, because you want to make friends in the spirit world, because those friends are going to help you connect with other spirits out there. So when it comes time to, you know, if you go on location or something like that and you want to communicate with the spirits in that location, the ones that you have befriended will say to that spirit there, it's okay. This person you can trust. And that's where you build up a rapport. That's why, you know, like I am fortunate. I feel that probably because I've done that. I won't say it is because of that. I don't know. but I'm assuming that because I've always gone in with the utmost respect, that's why they will come and they will communicate, and they will allow me, when they're in the mood, to be filmed or to be recorded. You know, sometimes it's, you know, like that one that walked in front of, I think she knew that that would happen. What's that? I'd like some spirit friends. You know, honestly, when you do make friends in spirit, they are so protective. It is a beautiful feeling. Like I've had so many times, I've been very fortunate. I was actually, to give you an example, I was driving along the M4 one day. It's a busy highway type of thing. And I think it was it was the M3, my apologies, because it was quite an old, is it M3 or M2? I don't know, the one that goes down towards Penrith Way. I had to go out that direction. So anyone who knows it, you'll know what one I'm talking about. But it's the main highway that goes right through Blacktown into Penrith Way and so on. So I was driving and I was in a bit of a state because I had not long lost my mother, then, you know, going through the loss of my mother, my grandmother on top of that, and stuff like that. So I needed to get out and get some air and so on. And I was driving towards the Blue Mountains, and as I was on the actual highway, I was asking them to be with me and, you know, to come and talk and communicate and everything. And I don't know what happened. At one point, my steering wheel went to this way. I had my hand on, you know, the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position of the steering wheel, but something caused my steering wheel to swing. And I thought, my God, what's happened? You know, if I is there something wrong with my wheel bearings or my what's that thing, the bar? And I then pulled up onto the actual shoulder of the road, got out, and I had a look just to see, you know, check the tires and everything. And there was this great big dirty hole in the road where somehow, I don't know who or what, had moved the steering wheel to that direction. I didn't see it. I did not see it because of the fact that, you know, my eyes were all, you know, blurry. I was crying at the time because, yeah, even though you see spirits and you hear them and everything, you still go through that total loss kind of feeling because they're no longer there in a physical form. They're, you know, they're now in spirit. It's not as though you can just like rock up to their place, sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, hug them and, you know, feel them physically like you did when they were alive. You know, so now it's a matter of you've got to wait for them to come to you, so to speak. So that was amazing. I feel that they saved my life that day. If I had hit that hole in the road, who knows what might have happened? You know, I might have gone into the traffic beside me, where big trucks and everything go. You know, anything could have happened. So when you've got spirit friends, they do watch over you and they also watch over your family. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with them even following you home. So many people say, oh, I don't want a spirit following me home and everything. You can't control that. You can't stop them. But if they take a liking to you and you've shown them respect and you've communicated with them, it's like if you had everyone ignoring you and then suddenly someone's talking to you and acknowledging your existence. It's understandable why they would want to be around you. So think of it from that perspective, and then you'll actually find that you'll have more of an opportunity of connecting with them. And they, you know, if they really do want to help you prove the existence of the afterlife, don't force them. Just ask. You know, it's like if someone asked you, will you do this for me? If you're not in the mood to do it because it means that it's going to give them attention to the world, so to speak, and you don't want to do it, you're going to probably think, well, I'm not getting any credit for it. That person's getting credit for me doing this. So why would I do it? Some spirits don't feel that they're going to look good. Some are very conscious of their looks, honestly. Like Ruth that time, it was, is my makeup okay? And is my hair all right? You know, things like that. A very typical female. Hi, Wagner. And we have Nobody Believes Me Paranormal on. So thanks for joining. So, so if you do ask permission, don't become impatient with them. Just write it out, because eventually when they see that you're patient with them and you're not forcing them, they will come around. They will actually say, okay, we think you're ready. Maybe you're in a test at the moment to see whether or not they can trust you. If you are seen to be creating fake videos where you're saying this is spirit moving things, or this is spirit turning on a light using the flash torch thing, which is an old game we used to play as kids, the talking flashlight. If you are doing things like that, you're not going to get much respect from the spirits. They're going to say, nah, this person, they're just attention seeking, you know. So just keep in mind, it's really important to show respect at all times. Don't ever force them. You don't want to make enemies on the other side, because, as I said, the word will get around. But if you can just have respect and question things too, you know, don't take every single thing as gospel. That, you know, if you've been recording while you're out, try to make a note of the temperature, the weather conditions, the location. Was it cold? Was it damp? Was it hot? Was it humid? Things like that. If you're using flash, I would say 9 times out of 10, you're going to have moisture orbs, dust orbs, bugs, those types of things illuminated from the flash itself or captured in the infrared light. But if you have no movement around you and you're not using a flash and you've got infrared light, and I always say put them on either end. So on the right side for me, which would be your left if you're watching me. So left and right, if you are having the infrared facing one another so that it beams towards each other, and you've got the camera directly this way or at the other end shooting this way, even if you had like 2 cameras facing each other and the infrared's either side, always keep them either side. Think of speakers, like, you know, you've got stereo speakers on this side and that side, and down the middle you've got the television screen as an example, and you're sitting at the other end type of thing. Ask the spirit if they could please stand between the 2 lights. Ask them, you know, if they can manifest a energy orb or just a light. Just say, you don't have to fully manifest. You don't have to do that for me. Even if you can just show me a spark of light, an energy light, and just be patient. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. And don't feel the need that every single week you've got to put a video up, because only put a video up if you have real solid evidence. If you are walking and you've got the noise of your shuffling feet and everything like that, chances are you can't count that as EVP. Sure, there will be EVPs that will be amplified as a result of sound, and as that was proven with that, you know, audio that I played earlier. And I'll put the link of that audio for you in the description or in the actual post below the video once it's all finished and everything. So you can actually go and listen to it yourself. But she was really clear. And it was really sweet too. But anyway, I'm going to let everybody have a good night's sleep or carry on with their day. I don't know what time it is where you are. Here it is after midnight. It is 12:06 a.m. So I think it's time for me to go shushy buys. So hope you had a great time on the live stream with us. Thank you so much, Order, for joining me. If you're still watching, I'm glad that you're feeling a lot better. So everyone take care. And if you do capture anything and you want to share your links below the video, please do. Remember, this recording tonight, this live stream, was not to have a dig at anybody. It was purely to give you a little bit of insight into what, or how much pareidolia is actually around us. And we can't, including myself, count every single thing as being evidential. There are going to be some things that aren't. And to admit to it and to say, yes, that was, me moving or what have you. And even if you're, here's another thing you could probably do as a tip. If you are walking while recording, which I think shouldn't happen, especially when you're trying to capture EVPs, say, I'm walking, or if you move your arm or you put your hand in your pocket to grab something, identify that on the recording so you can timestamp it. You can say, okay, at this time that was me moving. That would obviously be the rustling of my jacket or my jumper or my top, that kind of thing. They might have been my keys, that type of, try to do a process of elimination. So I'm going to go. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next weekend. If you're in my group, with the High Priestess Studio group, which is a private one, I'm going to be on tomorrow. Last week, we actually made contact with we think we did anyway, but it was a bit too questionable, I think. Very, very weird. We did a missing persons, which was the topic, and it was William Terrell. I couldn't help but get emotional. I felt like an idiot, but it wasn't easy not to. Let me just put it like that. A bit of an eye-opener too, around that. And finally, if you, just as I mentioned earlier in the special announcement, I have audio out at the moment on iTunes and Amazon. The links are in the description below this video if you're interested. I feel that they're quite affordable. I don't know, you might think different, but I think they're quite affordable. These are self-guided hypnotherapy recordings. You've got the astral projection, the psychic protection, and you've also got one there. It's creating a higher consciousness. And the last one was a positively calming detox, which is a combination of ASMR as well as, subliminal positive affirmations and that type of thing. So at this positively calming detox, at one point there, as I said, I take you under, or like being submerged. So you get this feeling like you've got water in your ears, and then as you come out of it, your ears are all clear and open, and then I have you subjected, that is, to thunder, and then I have seagulls pooping on you. No, I'm only joking. It was fun to make. I enjoyed it. It's something different to the others. It's in no way anything like the other ones, but it was fun. So if you are interested in those self-guided things at the moment for the 24 hours, everything, if you purchase it through the website, through the highpriestessstudio.com website on the audio EVP page, they're there for sale if you purchase it from the actual website and not from Amazon or iTunes, because I don't get the money for that for probably 3 months. But if you purchase it through the actual website, the money instantly goes to PayPal, and with the money that is made through the purchase of those for the next 24 hours, that is going to be completely donated. Every cent is going to be donated to the Humane Society International to help, with closing down those horrible dog meat farms that are in South Korea and other locations. They've got 80 dogs apparently at the moment that they are trying to save and get them out of there to Canada, so that they're getting an opportunity to have freedom and love. You get an idea of what these dog meat farms are like. They are sadistic pigs. They have no heart whatsoever for these animals, because they don't believe animals have a soul, which is why they are so vindictive and cruel. And they actually believe that by tormenting, or with these dogs, they are blowtorched while they're alive. They tie wire around their snout so they can't open their mouth, wire. And they also tie their legs backwards so that their legs, as you can imagine, they dislocate from the shoulder. They tie them behind their back. These dogs can't move. They can't fend themselves. They're hit over their head with sticks. They're beaten. They are bludgeoned. And they're even hung and beaten. And then they take them down while they're still partially conscious. And then they use a blowtorch to burn the fur off them. This is how these dogs suffer. The puppies, they are looked at as delicacies. It is so horrible. And there's not much that I can do. So that's why I thought, okay, maybe if I donate everything from these recordings, think of it as going towards that, because I will not be making a cent off them for the next 24 hours. In fact, I've extended it. It's 48 hours because I had it over the other, day. So it just broke my heart, and I thought, maybe this is why Spirit had me make these. Maybe this is why I have these up there, is so that in moments like this, like Animals Australia, which I donate monthly to, or my daughter does anyway. Every month we send money to Animals Australia. I'm an animal advocate. My daughter, she's appeared now twice in the Animals Australia magazine. She's a force to be reckoned with, I tell you, and only a 10-year-old too. So I'm very proud of her. But if you have a heart and you want to do something, don't click on the links that are there under this video, because it'll take you to Amazon, and I won't see that money for 3 months. These dogs need the help now. So if you go to the website, which is the High Priestess Studio, the same as the channel name, and just put .com after it, and then go in and then put click on the link for the E.V.Ps and the audio section, or audio and E.V.Ps. I think that's the page. The link will be found on the first page, and just go in there, and on the side of the page, if you're looking at it from a browser, like a computer browser, you'll see it down the sides. If you're looking at it on a phone, it'll, you have to scroll down, and then you'll see these not videos, these audios for sale. So on the page, I increased their price to $20, because I feel that $20 is going to be better given to those that Humane Society International. And then I'm going to reduce it back to the $15, which is what I was selling them for before. So if you do the purchase via the highpriestessstudio.com. The money instantly goes through to PayPal, and then once at the end of that 24-hour period, I'm going to use all that money that is made purely from those sales. And it doesn't matter what one. At first I only had, okay, for this audio, but I think for all those audios, whatever is made, I'm going to donate every cent in the next 24 hours to the Humane Society International. So please, if you've got a heart and you want to help me in doing something to try and rescue these poor animals and shut down these bloody meat farms, you know, for these dogs, and it's what they go through is horrendous. Have a look on even if you don't want to purchase one of my audios, that's fine, you don't have to. But if you want to donate directly, go to the Humane Society International website. I think it's hsi.org. So if you go there, you can actually see and read about it, and they've got the critical update saying that they have actually found currently another meat farm in South Korea, and so this way, you know, you can donate whatever you want. You don't have to put 20, you can probably put 100 if you want to, or you can make monthly donations set up. You know, you're not obligated to every single month pay, but if you want to do something, you know, feel free. But as I said, don't click on the links for the audio in the description because they go to Amazon. But if you do go to my website or the highpriestessstudio.com website and then go to audio, you will then find those audios for sale on the side of the thing. You just click once, so you're not double charged, by the way, because some people click it twice. So when you click once, you make your purchase, then you get the download link. I think it's sent to your email, and download it to a computer for playback because they're MP3 files or FLAC files, and I think FLAC was the setting I had to use, the format to get it to Amazon and iTunes. So with the audio file, it's not really compatible for mobiles. I found that, you know, when I've tried playing it on a mobile, the file's too large and it doesn't work and it freezes and stalls and everything. So if you download it to a computer, then you've got it there. And if you want to put it on a USB stick or a CD, whatever, you can do that. But, you know, just think of the cause behind it. And it's just a way that I can probably do a little help as well. So you're not only getting something that's going to help you relax and get a good night's sleep, but you're also going to be putting it towards a good cause. So I'm going to close up tonight's live stream. I really do think I think it was a pretty good live stream. What do you think? Did you like the live stream tonight? If you did, give it a thumbs up. But I hope you really, you know, think about donating. And as I said, the next 24 hours, all that money that is made through those sales through the website of the highpriestessstudio.com for those audios will go directly to them. And as I said, just to stress, do not click the links in the description beneath this video because they will take you to Amazon and that money will not be given to us for about 3 months. That's how long it takes. 3 months. So anyway, I'll leave it up to you. I hope you had a great night. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And if you're in wet or snowy weather, please drive carefully. Bye.